Hello students, welcome back to our live APS classes, and as all we know that this is our foundation course especially for the students from 9th to 12th. And in our today's live lecture we will discuss about the pre-board examination for class 10th and the subject is science. And in this video we will discuss about the detailed question paper regarding the subject science and how the attemptation of the questions that are to be discussed in this our live lecture. And dear students, if you want to download the sample of pre-board examination, then go to the description box and then check the link given below. After that you can easily download the sample paper of pre-board examination for class 10th for the session March 2021. Before starting this pre-board examination, there are some instructions how to attempt the paper. So your first instruction is, while answering your questions, you must indicate on your answer books the same question number as appears on your question paper. So let us start with our first question. That is, your question number one is balance the chemical equation. And dear students, question number 1 to 15 carries 1 marks. That means these are short answer type questions and each question carries 1 marks. So let us start with our question number 1, and your question number 1 is balance the chemical equation, and this question carries 1 marks, and your question is Fe plus H2O give rise to Fe3O4 plus H2. तो आपको ये बताना है कि इसको किस तरह से इक्वेशन को जो है वो बैलेंस करना है. दैट मीन्स Fe plus H2O give rise to ferric tetra, balancing the chemical equation. Second question is, write the chemical formula of bleaching powder. What is the chemical formula of bleaching powder? It is your question number 2. So dear students, the chemical formula of bleaching powder is CaOCl2, that is calcium oxychloride. This is the chemical formula of bleaching powder. So this is our question number 2. Now shift to the question number 3, and your question number 3 is, which element has the electronic configuration 283? कौन सा ऐसा एलिमेंट है, ये कौन सा ऐसा तत्व है जिसका इलेक्ट्रॉनिक विन्यास जो है that is 283. तो एल्यूमिनियम is the element which has the electronic configuration 283. So aluminium has electronic configuration. First of all, the atomic number of aluminium is 13 and the electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. Sorry, 3s2 and 3p1. This is the electronic configuration of aluminium 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p1. So the element which has the electronic configuration 283 is the aluminium. That is 2, sp8 and sp3, 283. Next is your question number 4, and your question number 4 is, write the name of the acid present in the vinegar. उस एसिड का नाम बताएं जो कि विनेगर में पाया जाता है. That means the acid which is present in the vinegar is the acetic acid. Acetic acid is the acid which is present in the vinegar. Next is your question number 5. What is called the gap between the two neurons? What is called the gap between the two neurons? So synapse is the gap between the two neurons. Synapse. So the gap between the two neurons is called as synapse. It is your question number 5. Now shift to the question number 6, and your question number 6 is, name male and female reproductive organs of the flower. फ्लावर के मेल एंड फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव ऑर्गन्स बताने हैं. So the male reproductive organ of the flower is stamen or pistil. Stamen or pistil is the male reproductive organ of the flower. Male reproductive organ of flower. And the female reproductive organ of, stamen is the male reproductive organ of the flower, and pistil is the female reproductive organ. Reproductive organ of flower, or the ovary is the female reproductive organ of the flower. Next is your question number 7, and your question number 7 is how many pairs of the chromosomes are present in the human body? So there are 23 pairs of the chromosomes that are present in the human body. 23 pairs of chromosomes are present in the human body. Now shift to the question number 8, and your question number 8 is the autotropic mode of nutrition requires. ऑटोट्रॉपिक मोड ऑफ न्यूट्रिशन के लिए कौन कौन सी चीज़ों की ज़रूरत होती है? Your options are carbon dioxide and water. Second one is chlorophyll. Next, sunlight, and D, all of the above. So dear students, for the autotropic mode of nutrition, it requires carbon dioxide and water. It should be the necessary condition for the autotropic mode of nutrition. Second one is the chlorophyll is also most important for the autotropic mode of nutrition. Third one is the sunlight. It is again the most important mode of the autotropic nutrition. And fourth, that means all these are important for the autotropic mode of nutrition. So the right option is all of the above. Next is your question number 9, and all these questions carries 1 marks. Question number 9 is which type of lens is used to cure myopia? कौन सा ऐसा lens है that is to be used for the cure of myopia? So concave lens. Concave lens is used to cure myopia. Is used to cure myopia. Next is question number 10, and the question number 10 is what is the SI unit of electric current? So the SI unit of electric current is ampere. It is the SI unit of electric current. Next is your question number 11, and question number 11 is name the device that helps to maintain a potential difference across a conductor. उस device का नाम बताएं that helps to maintain the potential difference across a conductor. So battery is the device that helps to maintain a potential difference across a conductor. Next is your question number 12. And question number 12 is in which state the largest wind energy farm of India has been established? Question is in which state the largest wind energy farm of India has been established? So Rajasthan is the state which has the largest wind energy farm of India that has been established. Next is your question number 13, and your question number 13 is what are decomposers? What are decomposers? So decomposer is an organism that decomposes or breaks down organic material such as the remains of the dead organism. So a decomposer, it is an organism that totally decomposes or breaks down the organic material, and that organic material that is in the form of remains of the dead organisms. And decomposers includes bacteria and fungi. Decomposers include bacteria and fungi. So these organisms carry out the process of the decomposition which all living organisms undergo after death. So these are the decomposers. Next is your question number 14. राइट द नेम ऑफ द टू पोल्स ऑफ द बार मैग्नेट. दो पोल्स के नाम बताने हैं बार मैग्नेट के. सो द टू पोल्स ऑफ द बार मैग्नेट आर साउथ एंड नॉर्थ पोल. साउथ एंड नॉर्थ pole. So these are the two poles of the bar magnet. And last is your question number 15 that carries 1 marks, and your question number 15 is, when was Ganga action plan started? Ganga action plan जो है वो कब start हुआ है? That is, Ganga action plan was started 14th January 1986. So Ganga Action Plan was started on 14th January 1986. So these are 15 questions and each question carries 1 marks. Now our question number 16 carries 2 marks. And your question number 16 is, why do we apply paint on the iron articles? Why do we apply paint on the iron articles? So the answer is, when iron is exposed to environmental condition, it terribly reacts with water and air and ends up with iron rusting. तो जब हम iron को exposed करेंगे environmental conditions में, at that time it terribly reacts with the water and air and ends up with the iron rusting. Iron articles are therefore painted off so that iron cannot react with water and air. This is the way to avoid a reaction which would concurrently stop rusting of iron. So on the behalf of that reason, we apply paint on the iron articles. Next is your question number 17, and this question again also carries 2 marks. And your question number 17 is, give 2 important uses of the baking soda. 2 important uses बताने हैं baking soda के. First uses, it is used in the manufacture of sodium compounds, especially baking soda. It is used in the manufacture of sodium compounds such as borax. And uses of the baking soda, number 1 is, sodium hydrogen carbonate is also ingredient in antacids. Being alkaline, it neutralizes excess acid in the stomach and provides relief. तो alkaline होने की वजह से it totally neutralizes excess acid, and that excess acid is present in the stomach, and after that it provides relief. So these are the 2 important uses of the baking soda. Next is your question number 18, and your question number 18 is, what is Newland's law of octaves? And this question again carries 2 marks. So Newland's law of octaves, in chemistry, the generalization made by the English chemist J.A.R. Newlands in 1865, that if the chemical elements are arranged according to increasing atomic weight, those with similar physical and chemical properties occur after each interval of 7 elements. So these are the Newland's law of octaves, and these are some important points by the Newland's law of octaves. Next is your question number 19, and your question number 19 is, what are the differences between the transport of materials in the xylem and the phloem? And this question again carries 2 marks. So major difference between the transport of the materials in the xylem and phloem. So xylem and phloem are the major 2 important ways for the transportation of material in the plants. So xylem tissue helps in the transport of water and minerals. Mainly xylem जो है, it totally helps in the transport of water and minerals, whereas phloem tissue helps in the transport of food. These are the 2 ways by which the various transportation of plants occurs. And xylem especially helps in the transport of water and minerals, whereas phloem tissue helps in the transport of food. Transport in xylem requires physical forces, especially at the time of transportation in the xylem, it requires physical forces, and these physical forces are such as transpiration pull. And transport of food in the phloem requires energy, and that energy in the form of ATP. So when the transport of food in the phloem occurs, it especially requires energy, and that energy in the form of ATP. The form of ATP. Whereas transport of xylem requires some physical forces. physical forces, and these physical forces are in the form of transpiration pull. Transpiration pull. Next is your question number 20, and your question number 20 is, how do we detect the smell of an agravati, that is incense stick? किस कारण हम जो है वो एक अगरबत्ती की गंध का पता लगा लेते हैं? At first, the smell of the incense stick reaches our nose, then the olfactory receptors present in our nose detect it. Then the receptors send this information to the forebrain in the form of electrical signals. Then the forebrain interprets this information as the smell of incense stick where it is already stored. तो सबसे पहले जो स्मेल है हमारी इंसेंस स्टिक की वो हमारे नाक तक पहुंचती है. आफ्टर दैट जो ऑल्फैक्टरी रिसेप्टर्स होते हैं जो कि हमारे नोज में प्रेजेंट होते हैं वो उस स्मेल को डिटेक्ट करते हैं. आफ्टर दैट रिसेप्टर्स जो होते हैं वो उस इंफॉर्मेशन को सेंड करते हैं फोर ब्रेन में, एंड दैट इंफॉर्मेशन इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिकल सिग्नल्स. देन द जो फोर ब्रेन है वो इंटरप्ट करता है इस इंफॉर्मेशन को एज द स्मेल ऑफ द इंसेंस स्टिक where it is already stored. And this question again carries 2 marks. Next is your question number 21, and your question number 21 also carries 2 marks. And your question number 21 is, how does the embryo get nourishment inside the mother's body? किस तरह से एक embryo जो है वो अपनी nourishment को जो है वो पूरा करता है inside the mother's body? So the answer is embryo derives its nourishment from the mother's blood through the placenta. सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि जो embryo है वो अपना nourishment वो derive करता है from the mother's blood, and that is with the help of the placenta. And placenta that embryo get nourishment inside the mother's body in the form of mother's blood, and that is in the form of placenta. And placenta contains villi that are finger-like projections. That placenta carries the villi, or placenta contains villi on the side of the embryo, and blood vessels surrounding villi on the side of the mother. After that, oxygen and glucose. After that, oxygen and glucose pass from the mother to the embryo through the process of placenta. Next is your question number 22, and your question number 22 is, what is meant by saying that potential difference between the 2 points is 1 volt? What is meant by saying that the potential difference between the 2 points is 1 volt? So 1 volt is the potential difference between the 2 points in an electric circuit where one pictorially represented by magnetic field lines, the properties of which are as follows. Number 1 is the field is tangent to the magnetic field line. Second one is field strength is proportional to the line density. Field strength is directly proportional to the magnetic field line. Third one is field lines cannot cross. Next is field lines are continuous loops. So these are some important properties of the magnetic field. Next is your question number 24, and this question again carries 2 marks, and your question number 24 is, why we are looking at alternative sources of energy? Why we are looking at alternative sources of energy? हम ऊर्जा के वैकल्पिक स्रोतों की ओर क्यों ध्यान दे रहे हैं? Because fossil fuels are being used at large scale and they are non-renewable sources of energy. सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि fossil fuel जो हैं they are being used at very large scale, and after that they are non-renewable source of energy. and they will disappear after some time. कुछ समय के बाद वो disappear हो जाएंगे after the depletion of the non-renewable sources of energy. और जैसे depletion होगी non-renewable sources of energy की, we will be left with nothing. उसके बाद हमारे पास कुछ भी नहीं रहेगा. Hence we are trying to develop alternative sources of energy. इस वजह से जो है हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं alternative sources of energy को develop करने की. So here our section B that started from question number 16 and ends up question number 24, and each question carries 2 marks. After that we shift to the question number 25th, and this question carries 3 marks. And your question number 25 is draw the structural isomers for pentane. Pentane के लिए कितने structural isomers जो है वो possible हो सकते हैं? That means there are 3 structural isomers are possible for pentane. There are 3 structural isomers are possible for pentane. So this is N-pentane. Second one is so this is neopentane. This is the second possible isomer for pentane. Third one is this is isopentane. That means there are 3 structural isomers are possible for pentane. Next is your question number 26, and your question number 26 also again carries 3 marks, and your question number 26 is how the small intestine is designed to absorb digested food. How the small intestine is designed to absorb the digested food. The small intestine has millions of tiny finger-like projections, and that tiny finger-like projections are called as villi. That means small intestine, it has millions of tiny finger-like projections, and these finger-like projections are called as the villi. And these villi increase the surface area. The main function of these villi is to increase the surface area. Increase the surface area. Increase the surface area for more efficient food absorption. So the main function of these villi is to increase the surface area for more efficient food absorption. Within these villi, many blood vessels are present in the within these villi, many blood vessels are present that absorb the digested food and carry it to bloodstream. So, in villi की वजह से many blood vessels जो हैं they are present, and after that it absorbs the digested food and especially it carries it to the bloodstream. So, in this way, the small intestine is designed to absorb the digested food. Next is your question number 27, and your question number 27 is what is the role of the acid in our stomach? So hydrochloric acid helps our body to break down, digest and absorb nutrients such as proteins. So the main function of the hydrochloric acid, it helps our body for the breakdown as well as the for the digestion of the food, as well as it absorbs the nutrients, and that nutrients are in the form of the proteins. The hydrochloric acid found in the stomach facilitates the process of digestion by disintegrating complex large food molecules into smaller molecules. The acid activates the pepsinogen enzyme that requires to digest proteins. So this is the role of the acid in our stomach, and it is your question number 27. Next is your question number 27. It is in the form of choice. That means there are two options for these questions. And the choice question is explain why the planets do not twinkle. क्या कारण है कि जो planets हैं वो टिमटिमाते नहीं हैं. As light from a star races through our atmosphere, it bounces and bumps through the different layers, bending the light before you see it. Since the hot and the cold layers of air keep moving, the bending of the light changes too, which causes the star's appearance to bubble or twinkle. तो जैसे ही लाइट जो है स्टार्स की वो क्या करती है, रेस करती है हमारे एटमॉस्फेयर में, आफ्टर दैट वो बाउंसेस और बम्प्स करती है थ्रू द डिफरेंट लेयर्स, स्कैटर कर जाती है, एंड दैट बेंडिंग द लाइट बिफोर यू सी इट. बट हॉट एंड कोल्ड लेयर्स होती है एयर की, कीप द मूविंग, एंड आफ्टर दैट बेंडिंग द लाइट चेंजेस टू, एंड उसके बाद वो क्या करती है कि कॉज करती है स्टार अपीयरेंस को, दैट इज टू बॉबल और द ट्विंकल. This is why the planets do not twinkle. Next is draw a level diagram of the human eye. So this is the one level diagram of the human eye, and in this diagram of the human eye, these are specially optic nerves that are present in the human eye, and after that this layer is known as retina. This layer is known as the retina, and these are the optic nerves. And after a retina, this is the choroid, and this is the scleria that is present in the human eye, and these are the blind spots. This is the blind spot that is present in the human eye, and this is the vitreous body, and these are the ciliary muscles. These are the ciliary muscles, and just behind the ciliary muscles, this is the ligament, and after that, this is the lens that is present in the human eye, and this is the iris. After iris, this is the cornea, and this is the visual axis, and this is the anterior pole. This is the anterior pole, and this is the anterior pole के साथ ही this is the nodal point, and after that, this is the anterior chamber, and just above the anterior chamber, it is the posterior chamber, and this is the ciliary body, and this is the rectus medullus. So this is the one level diagram of the human eye, and each and every part, it has some specific functions that are present in the human eye. Next is your question number 28, and your question number 28 is what will happen if we kill all the organisms in one trophic level? क्या होगा यदि हम एक पोषी स्तर के सभी जीवों को समाप्त कर दें या मार डालें? This question again carries 3 marks. If we kill all the organisms of one trophic level, किसी भी एक ट्रॉपिक लेवल के अगर हम सभी ऑर्गेनिजम्स को किल कर देते हैं, इट विल लीड टू एन इंक्रीज इन द नंबर ऑफ द ऑर्गेनिजम्स. तो उस वजह से क्या होगा कि एक इंक्रीज होगा इन द नंबर ऑफ द ऑर्गेनिजम्स एट द लोअर ट्रॉपिक लेवल. तो उस लोअर ट्रॉपिक लेवल पर नंबर ऑफ ऑर्गेनिजम्स जो होंगे वो इंक्रीज हो जाएंगे, एंड डिक्रीज इन द नंबर ऑफ द ऑर्गेनिजम्स एट द हायर ट्रॉपिक लेवल. लोअर लेवल पर जो नंबर ऑफ ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैं उनका नंबर जो होगा वो इंक्रीज हो जाएगा, but there is decrease in the number of the organisms at the higher trophic level. पर higher trophic level पर उनका number जो होगा वो decrease हो जाएगा. This will result in the disruption in the food web and hence the ecosystem. Ultimately इसका जो result होगा वो किस चीज़ को lead करेगा? Disruption in the food web and hence the ecosystem. So this is the main loss, that if we kill all the organisms in one trophic level. Next is your question number 29, and your question number 29 is explain human excretory system, and this question carries 5 marks. Human excretory system. तो excretory system जो human का, excretory system is a system of an organism body that performs the function of excretion. That means the main function of the excretory system of an organism's body, it performs the role of excretion. That means the process of excretion is totally based on the excretory system. The bodily process of discharging wastes. Discharging wastes. Discharging wastes. So the excretory system is responsible for the elimination of the wastage produced by the hemostasis. There are several parts of the body that are involved in the process, such as sweat glands, the liver, the lungs, and the kidney system. The kidney system. So every human has two kidneys. Every human has two kidneys. So the right kidney and the left kidney. So every human has two kidneys. Each kidney is made up of three sections. अभी हमने कहा कि हर एक ह्यूमन जो है उसके 3 kidneys होती हैं, and each kidney is made up of 3 sections, and these 3 sections are the renal cortex, the renal medulla, and the renal pelvis. The blood arrives at the kidney via the renal artery. जो blood है हमारी kidney में arrive करता है, that is with the help of renal artery that splits into many different arterioles, and these arterioles go to the woman's capsule of nephrons, where the waste are taken out of the blood by pressure filtration. Peritubular capillaries also surrounds the nephrons, so substances can be taken in and out of the blood. The renal cortex is the outer layer of the kidney, and the medulla is the inner layer of the kidney. So the renal cortex, it is the outer layer of the kidney, whereas the medulla, it is the inner layer of the kidney. The renal pelvis takes urine away from the kidney via the ureter. जो renal pelvis है, it takes especially the urine, and that urine away from the kidney with the help of ureter. Both the ureters leads the urine into the body only urinary bladder, which expands and sends nerve impulse when full. From there urine is expelled through the urethra and out of the body. तो यहाँ पर urine जो है, it is totally expelled through the urethra, and after urethra it totally go out of the body. Body से वो बाहर चला जाता है. So this is the diagrammatically representation of the kidney. So अभी हमने कहा था कि every human contains 2 kidneys. This is the right kidney and this is the left kidney, and just left kidney is directly attached with the Raynaud vein, and this is the adrenal gland. This is the adrenal gland, and these kidneys, right kidney as well as left kidney, here there is the ureter. This is the ureter, and this is the renal artery. This is the renal artery, and after renal artery, this red part is known as the vena cava, and this is the dorsal aorta. This is the dorsal aorta, and after that, this ureter is directly attached with the urinary bladder. This is directly attached with the urinary bladder, and after urinary bladder, this is the urethra. This is the urethra, and after urine, it is expelled through the urethra, and after that, it is out of the body. Out of the body. So this is the human excretory system. Your next question is differentiate between artery and vein. So what is the main differences between the arteries and the veins? And this question again carries 5 marks. And so let us start with our differences between the arteries and the veins. First is involved in carrying oxygenated blood except for pulmonary arteries. Arteries जो हैं ये specially carried out करती हैं oxygenated blood को except for the pulmonary arteries. Veins, it involved in carrying deoxygenated blood. The main role of the veins that it carries the deoxygenated blood except for the pulmonary veins. Next is consists of 3 distinct layers. Arteries consist of 3 distinct layers, and these 3 distinct layers are rigid, thicker, and highly muscular. Whereas in case of the veins, consists of 3 distinct layers which are thinner and less muscular. So this is the difference related with the walls. Next important difference that is based on the position of the arteries and the veins. So the arteries located deeply with the body, whereas veins peripherally located closer to the skin. So this difference is based on the position of the arteries and the veins. Next difference is based on the appearance. Arteries are red in color, whereas veins are blue in color. Next difference based on the depends upon the transport of the materials. So arteries carry blood away from the heart to various parts of the body, whereas veins carry blood towards the heart from the various parts of the body. Next, the last difference between the arteries and the veins, that totally depends upon the rate of the pressure. In case of the arteries, high pressure as the blood flows by the pumping pressure of the heart, whereas veins, low pressure as the blood flows by the capillary action of the veins. So these are the differences between the arteries and the veins, and these differences based on the functions, walls, position, appearance, transports, as well as rate of the pressure. Next difference based on the oxygen level. In case of the arteries, comparatively higher oxygen level, whereas in case of the veins, comparatively low oxygen level. Next difference based on the carbon dioxide level. In case of the arteries, the level of the carbon dioxide is very low, whereas in case of the oxygen, the level of carbon dioxide is high. Next, the direction of the blood flow. So the difference based on the direction of the blood flow. In case of the arteries, that is in the downward direction from the heart to the body tissue, whereas in case of the veins, in the upward direction from the body tissue to the heart. Next is lumen. In case of the arteries, lumen is narrow, whereas in case of the veins, lumen is wide. Next difference based upon the valves. Arteries, in case of the arteries, valves are absent, whereas valves are present. And there are some disorders between the arteries and the veins. Arteries are at a greater risk of certain diseases like angina pectoris and atherosclerosis, etc., whereas veins are less susceptible to disease such as varicose veins. So these are some important differences between the arteries and the veins. Next is your question number 30, and question number 30 again carries 5 marks. And your question number 30 is, what is chemical reaction, and describe different types of the chemical reactions with suitable examples. So first of all, we will discuss with the chemical reactions. Many chemical reactions can be classified as one of the 5 basic types. तो chemical reactions जो हैं, they are mainly based upon or classified upon the 5 types. Having a true understanding of these types of the reactions will be useful for predicting the products of an unknown reaction. And the 5 basic types of the chemical reactions are combination reactions, decomposition reactions, single replacement reactions, double displacement reactions or replacement reactions, and the last one is the combustion. Analyzing the reactants and the products of the given reactions will allow you to place it to one of these categories, and some reactions will fit into more than one category. So let us start with our first chemical reaction, that is the combination reaction. And a combination reaction is also known as synthesis reaction. That means this reaction is the combination of the 2 reactions is a reaction in which 2 or more substances combine. ऐसी reaction जिसमें 2 या 2 से अधिक substances आपस में combine कर जाएं तो वो एक single नया substance बनाते हैं, and that reaction is known as the combination reaction. Combination reaction can also be called synthesis reactions, and the general form of combination reaction is A plus B give rise to AB. That means when 2 or more substances combine to form a single new substance. So this is the combination reaction. Second one is the decomposition reaction. A decomposition reaction is a reaction in which a compound breaks down into 2 or more simpler substances. तो डिकम्पोजिशन रिएक्शन एक ऐसी रिएक्शन है जिसमें कंपाउंड जो है वो ब्रेक डाउन होकर 2 या 2 से अधिक सिंपलर सब्सटेंसेस को फॉर्म करता है, एंड द जनरल फॉर्म ऑफ द डिकम्पोजिशन रिएक्शन इज ए बी गिव राइज टू ए प्लस बी. सो दिस इज द decomposition reaction. Most decomposition reactions require an input of energy in the form of heat, light, and electricity. Next is single replacement reaction. A single replacement reaction is a reaction in which one element replaces a similar element in a compound. इसमें क्या है कि एक एलिमेंट जो है वो रिप्लेस करेगा सिमिलर एलिमेंट को कंपाउंड में, एंड द जनरल फॉर्मूला ऑफ द रिप्लेसमेंट रिएक्शन इज A plus BC give rise to B को डिस्प्लेस कर देंगे, दैट मीन्स AC प्लस B. So this is the single replacement reaction. Next is double displacement or double replacement reaction. A double replacement reaction is a reaction in which the positive and the negative ions of the two compounds exchange to form two new compounds. एक ऐसी रिएक्शन जिसमें पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव आयंस जो होंगे दो आयनिक कंपाउंड्स के, दे कैन एक्सचेंज देयर प्लेसेस and after the exchange of their places they form the new compounds. And the general formula of the double replacement reaction is AB plus CD give rise to B replace हो जाएगा and it combines with D, AD plus CB. So this is the double replacement reaction. And your last question is question number 31 and it again carries 5 marks. And your question number 31 is explain the principle and working of electric generator by drawing a level diagram and what is the function of brushes in it. And this is most important question. And the answer is the electric motor, generator and transformers all work on the principle of electromagnetic induction. That means electric motor, generator as well as transformer, all these work on the principle of electromagnetic induction. The electric motor converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. जो electrical motor है, it totally converts the electrical energy into mechanical energy. The electric generator works on the opposite way of the electric motor. It converts mechanical work into electric work. पर जो एक electric motor है वो convert करती है electric energy को mechanical energy में, whereas electric generator जो है electric motor तो हमने कह दिया कि वो convert कर देती है electrical energy को mechanical energy में, पर जो electric generator है वो opposite way में work करता है electric motor के. That means it converts the mechanical energy into electrical energy. This is the main difference between the electric generator as well as electric motor. The source of the mechanical energy varies from a wide range of hand cranks and combustion engines. An electric generator works on the principle of electromagnetic induction phenomenon. The main जो electric generator है, it totally works on the principle of the electromagnetic induction phenomenon. According to it, wherever a coil is rotated, when between the two poles of the magnet, it induces current that is set up in the coil, whose direction is given by the Fleming right-hand rule. And this principle of working of a generator is such that the flow of the electric charges can be induced by moving an electric conductor in a magnetic field and moving the conductor in the magnetic field or stationary conductor in a fluctuating magnetic field producing a voltage. And this is the difference between the two ends of the wires, that is the electrical conductor. Thus, at that time, it produces an induced current. It produces an induced current. So here there are total 31 questions regarding the pre-board examination of science subject for class 10th for the session March 2021. तो 31 क्वेश्चंस जो थे उनको किस तरह से अटेम्प्ट करना है और उनका क्या क्राइटेरिया है, कौन कौन से क्वेश्चन जो थे वो कितने कितने मार्क्स के हैं, हाउ मेनी क्वेश्चंस कैरीज हाउ मच मार्क्स. क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 to 15 जो थे आपके 1 मार्क्स कैरी आउट कर रहे थे, 16 to 24 जो थे वो 2 मार्क्स के थे, एंड आफ्टर दैट 25 to आपके 28 जो थे दे कैरी 3 मार्क्स, एंड आफ्टर 3 क्वेश्चंस आर ऑफ 5 मार्क्स, दैट इज फ्रॉम क्वेश्चन नंबर 29 टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 31. तो इस तरह से डियर स्टूडेंट्स आपको प्री बोर्ड एग्जाम जो आपका 10th क्लास का अभी लेटेस्ट हिमाचल प्रदेश बोर्ड ऑफ स्कूल एजुकेशन धर्मशाला ने लिया है, उसके अकॉर्डिंग आज हमने आपको पूरा पेपर जो है वो सॉल्व करवा दिया है, और इस पेपर के बिहाफ पर जो है वो आपके फाइनल एग्जाम की आप जो वो तैयारी करें. नेक्स्ट आपके साथ हम एक नए वीडियो में नए सब्जेक्ट के साथ नए सैम्पल पेपर के साथ आपके साथ दोबारा मिलेंगे. तब तक आप इस पेपर को जो है वो अच्छी तरह से गो थ्रू करें और रिवाइज करें. एंड गुड नाइट टू ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स हु ज्वाइन विद अस आवर